Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new episode of the Crew Review.
For you.
That's right, people.
Yeah.
It is for you. We are here on the last episode of our Oceans movies, doing Oceans 8, 2018. And we are
doing the last wave of the ocean movies.
Oh man. So big news. Next episode, we are planning to do in studio for our movie that is in theaters. We don't know which one yet, but this is our plan. So that is that. And also we are missing
That is that.
we are missing Beth. She had to work tonight and we got her rating, but she reads the summaries. So in place of her reading her summary, what we're going to do is we're just going to give, how would you summarize this movie? If somebody walked up to you on the street and said, hey, what's Ocean's 8 about? What would you say? So before we get into that, we are now entering the spoiler zone.
Spoilers, here we go.
There we go. All right, who wants to go first? Carson?
Carson's
he's asleep. Okay.
Yeah.
I can go first.
Classic Carson.
Classic
Carson.
All right, so Ocean's 8. It's this movie, right, about this girl who is the sister of Danny Ocean, known convict and recently deceased, that we find out. She is released from prison, and instead of being good, she decides to be bad. And with $45 in her pocket and only a dress on her back, she gathers up a compadre of 8 people. Is compadre a word? Well, I don't think I used it right, but that's okay. A band of 8 women, all women, to do this heist for jewels. And they did it successfully and got lots of money. The end.
That was good. That was very good.
Thanks. Kinley, how would you... Excuse me, sir. I'm about to go see this Ocean's 8 movie. What is it about? I'm not sure.
Well, we look at Danny Ocean's little sister, Debbie Ocean, being recently released from prison. And she brings a group of ladies together to enact a master plan that she's been planning for 5 years and to get a little revenge on the side. And I'll just tell you, jewels are involved.
That's pretty good. Pretty good. All right, I'll have to go see that movie.
Yeah, you should. It's good.
Excuse me, ma'am. I have never seen this movie before. Could you explain to me what it's about?
Well, here's the question. Am I explaining it to you without spoiling it?
Oh, I guess I said I would like you to spoil this movie for me.
Okay.
Could you so I don't have to see it. What is it?
Okay. So Danny Ocean's sister, Debbie, they're both D names. Just wanted to point that out. Gets out of jail and collectively gathers 7 other women to pull off this jewelry heist. The beautiful European jewels are going to be stolen during a gala, and they sneak it out and don't get caught, and she ends up busting her ex at the end as well. So it's a win-win-win. And James Corden's in there. So
speaking of who's in there, this movie's got such a lineup, just like in Ocean's fashion. Kinley, do you have readily available the list of the 8?
I got it. Let's talk about the 8. Number 1, Sandra Bullock is Debbie Ocean, our leader. Number 2, her partner in crime, we have Lou, played by Kate Blanchett. And then they approach a dear friend of mine named Helena Bonham Carter, who plays Rose Weil, but they kind of pronounce it Vile. All right, so that's 3. Mindy Kaling as Amita is 4. And then we've got Rihanna as 9-Ball, which I love. So that's the 9-Ball.
Real name's 8-Ball.
real name's 8-Ball.
Real name's 8-Ball. And then Awkwafina as Constance. I love Awkwafina. That gives us a nice 6. And then Sarah Paulson comes in at 7 as Tammy, the house mom from the suburbs who was big into stealing stuff from box trucks. And originally you think it's going to take 7 women. And towards the end, we find out we need an 8th. Who is our unwilling 8th? It's Anne Hathaway, who originally was not going to be part of the plan, but plays Daphne Kluger. And she's the mule that they use to transport the necklace into the Met so that they can steal it. So that is our 8, our big 8.
Very good. Yes, such a lineup. I remember when they announced this movie and the cast that was in it, and like we were freaking out about who was in this movie. I remember you and I just going back and forth like, oh my gosh, and they also have this person, and they also have this person. So,
you just keep reading it and you just think, wow, how can they get another famous person? But like you said earlier, John, in Ocean's fashion, like they had to do that. They had to pull on these big names to keep the tradition. That's what they had to do.
Yes. All right. So let's transition to talk about, let's say maybe some favorite scenes that, came to you. What about you, Jennifer? You want to start?
Let's see. Off the top of my head, I really kind of liked when Nine Ball gets introduced, and she's like the hacker, and she's breaking in there, and she's telling the 2 main characters, like, here's this, I got you into here, here's the security cameras. She said, but you got to clean up your carbon footprint because my little sister can hack in here. And I'm like, shuts the lights off. And they were like, no one's going to hack into it. Shuts the lights off. And they're like, okay, clean it up.
Oh.
Like, get us off of the radar. I really like that scene.
Yes.
Very funny.
I liked I really liked the beginning when Debbie gets out of prison and she immediately goes to the mall and does a con that I really think could be pulled off very easily after she does it, where she grabs the perfumes and the different makeup and stuff and says, hey, I need to return this, and just pretends like she doesn't have a receipt, asks for a bag, walks out. Next scene, see all the bags that she has.
And she's very smartly, at least on that first store, picked things that didn't have any kind of like security chip on there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't something that was obviously, oh yeah, she definitely could have bought it and returned it, or very glaringly like had this, those stupid little things that you have to get removed at the register, and kind of said, oh, I bought these already. And well, she probably did, because there's nothing on here that shows that she didn't buy it. So I thought that was really on her part.
Yeah. So that, and also immediately following the hotel scene when she's like, oh, I need a place to stay too. And just eavesdrops a couple that are checking out, gets their names and their room number, and then calls the hotel and says, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm actually, my flight's delayed. I need my room back. And just put it on my car. It's so clever. And then, oh, man, there's so many good scenes.
There's a lot of good scenes.
So once, I liked that they brought Yen back. That was great. And Ruben, but Yen was great.
Ruben. I thought of you, Kinley, as soon as Ruben popped back up.
I can hear
After
you.
seeing the first 3 Ocean movies, I was like, that's why he's so significant. I got it now. But I did think of you. I was like, oh, Kinley, there you are.
I love Ruben. Second favorite from the originals, Ruben. And I just loved that scene that ties them together. It ties, the relationship. It bridges the gap between the original trilogy and these movies. And we see Ruben kind of, even when he talks, he says we, he uses we a lot. And you can tell the old gang is still together. They still talk. They're still a thing. And so he's, coming to Debbie saying, we think it's dangerous. We don't think you should do it. But I just love putting him in there, giving him that cameo. We have, whose cameos later on? Yen's cameo, later on. Makes a cameo, brings an old friend back. I looked it up, and this made me very sad. There were 2 other cameos filmed that did not make the final cut of this movie.
Who did they say?
I don't recognize them.
Who is it?
Linus and Saul. And I was devastated.
Saul?
they cut Saw's cameo. And I looked for hours trying to find if they had deleted scenes, but all their deleted scenes were deleted after some production. So these didn't even make it to like post. So that was really sad, but they had shot both of those. And the director talked about wanting to not bog down the story with people from the past. And so I do appreciate the cameos.
They want to overdo it.
Right. But
then it's like, oh, but you didn't include so-and-so. Oh, but if you included them, you didn't include them. And but not including Saw was really difficult for me to hear that they had shot it. They shot that scene and didn't put it in. So anyway, but it does bridge. It bridges the worlds a little bit. Yeah. So, and then the last scene that I just wanted to mention that I really liked, or me and Jennifer loved, was when James Corden is at Claude, what's his face's house? Claude Becker. And I wrote it down. That his line was,
so funny.
"Why would a guy who has everything, 2 of these, steal a
palm tree thing?
Two weird tree things."
They almost look like shelves that aren't.
2 of these.
Yeah. It's like, it was everything. 2 of these.
I love that.
His tone is great.
Well, we were watching it, and Ashley was actually getting tired, and it was kind of it was right at the end. She was kind of falling asleep, and I laughed out loud, and she jumped up when I laughed when he said 2 of these. She physically, I was like, "You missed that. We've got to go back." And she was disoriented, but I was like, "It's worth it. Like, we've got to go back." So I laughed so hard.
Oh man!
What's your favorite scene, Kinley?
So one of my favorite scenes, one of my favorite group of scenes, I guess, would be kind of what we were describing at the beginning, where you just, where you meet Debbie Ocean. But I always love when you meet each of the main characters. So we've got Debbie pulling her little cons, low key, but some cons. You've got Lou watering down the vodka. That's kind of her con life. And then they kind of meet Rose Vile, who's doing airline stewardess like gowns, I guess, like that fashion line, like just that whole thing. Mindy Kaling's and her, working for her mom and ready to like bust out of there. Just when you meet everybody, I love getting to meet everybody. And we talked about Nine Balls a little bit, just that little part I enjoy. But I really liked the actual night of the con. I love all the different things that go into that. But one of my favorite would be Amita's resetting all of the jewels and making into earrings, bracelets, necklace, everything, and then them all coming together at the end and just exiting in gowns, wearing pieces of the necklace, like just wearing it out, not like hiding it in a bag, which I think you could have done, but wearing it out, like balls enough to say, "I'm gonna do this," Anyway, pretty cool.
And it makes me think of just like back to the original trilogy of Oceans, just like how they all just kind of have their baller suits walking around at the end.
Can we just take a moment too and think about, they all each wore a different piece of that necklace out, but can you picture, y'all don't wear necklaces, but think for a moment as someone who might wear a necklace, 6 pounds of diamonds around your neck, and what kind of like toll that would take on your upper back by the end of the night. I can't even imagine that.
6 pounds. I'm telling you, that's a heavy necklace.
See,
that's
Carson's
like around your neck.
When Carson was born, he was 6 pounds, 6 ounces.
He was 6'6".
So if you put him on a necklace around your neck,
I couldn't have done that.
Weird analogy. Yeah.
It's heavy. It's hefty heavy.
It is. And it's all like diamonds. I'm like,
oh yeah,
that would have blinded someone if any kind of light just shone on it.
Also, when I saw Rihanna walking out with hers, all I thought about was "Shine bright like a diamond."
Diamond.
Shine bright like a diamond.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure if this was intentional, but I definitely thought as they're all walking out, I thought, one of the I think they play on this. One of the reasons, and this kind of hits on Ocean's 12, where Julia Roberts is kind of, Tess looks like Julia Roberts. That whole kind of thought that they think she looks like, and they play on that. But the actress is, it kind of breaks that the actor barrier a little bit. And I thought, all of these people could have gone to the Met, like might have been invited. And so to walk out and nobody noticed them, it kind of plays into the like, they're really, actresses. They really are famous people. And it kind of blurs that line just for a second.
That's a good way to think
just
about
for
that.
a second. I don't know.
I like that.
Just a thought. Yeah. Just a thought. So anyway.
Let's see. Do you have a favorite line, Kinley, from the movie?
Oh gosh, I had a lot of lines.
Top 3.
And you can do multiple if you want to.
Let me think. I gotta look some up.
Here's my top 25. All right.
After this, I want to talk about the dresses too.
Okay.
I did like, oh my goodness, when they're getting everybody kind of together and Debbie says, if you're going to have a problem with stealing, then you're not going to like the rest of this conversation. Like, I loved that, but I don't know, I guess the very end, when Debbie sits and makes a martini in front of Danny's, in the mausoleum, and she just says, you would have loved it. And that's it. Like, gosh, I loved that. I love that. And Rose Vile says when she's, realized her career's over before they pick her up for the heist, I'm old and I'm going to prison and then I'm going to be really, really poor.
Yeah. I can also appreciate the fact that she's holding a jar of Nutella in her hand.
Yeah, she's eating Nutella with a spoon.
Oh, man. That's too good. That's good. I liked, I like the James Corden line mentioned before. But I also liked when they're at Vile's show at the beginning and they're like doing the weird outfits, flight attendant outfits. And then Debbie says, this is a flight to nowhere without any peanuts. That was so funny.
Oh gosh, that was funny. This had some good lines.
Yeah. Do you have any lines that stuck out to you?
No.
No. Covered those. Or another one was when what's the girl, the lady with the stuff in her house, the box truck stuff, what was her name?
Oh, Tammy.
When it's like, how do you explain this to your husband? eBay. Oh man, Mommy's going on her very special work trip.
Mommy finds very special toys and finds new home.
Yeah. Like, I try this one out for Daddy.
Well, you just get to see kind of on everybody how they're coming. Again, they're assembling a team from different walks of life. These people aren't going to get together normally. Very different, very kind of pieced together, like Ocean's, 11 at the beginning. And I love when Ruben is talking to Debbie and he's trying to convince her not to. And he says, sometimes just knowing the job will work is satisfaction enough. You don't actually got to do it. And I think that's something Danny would have disagreed with. But I think Ruben always played that kind of father figure for Danny. And so you see it again here with Debbie. I think it's kind of speaks to, what happened in the other 3 movies is they knew the job was going to work and they didn't have to do it, but they did because they needed that satisfaction as cons. And so Debbie needs to make her own way instead of living in her brother's shadow with that. So she does have to do it for a number of reasons, but I still loved that. So good stuff, good lines.
All right, what are we going to talk about? The dresses?
The dresses for the gala and how gorgeous they were. Kenley, did you have a favorite dress? I was going to ask him.
Well, I have one.
Okay.
But you go ahead, Kelly.
I really liked Sandra Bullock's dress. I loved that was a good dress, and it worked really well with her. They gave her like the blonder hair for the night of. It just worked really well, and kind of, she was kind of I don't remember what nationality, but she kind of spoke like the same language as Heidi Klum. She was pretending to be. Was it German? I don't know if she was speaking German.
Yeah, German.
Anyway, it was just the whole look really came together, so I liked that one. But Rihanna looks stunning in red as well.
My favorite.
Like,
I like Rihanna.
yeah.
And she had the shock factor because she was the one who was like trashy, smoked weed, and was like.
And the big old, what do you call the big beanie that she stuck all her dreads in?
Yeah.
Totally tomboy. But
yeah,
that dress was gorgeous.
I thought that.
I didn't like Aquafina's as
well,
much.
that's what I was about to say. Was when Aquafina walked out, I felt like she just walked out of the Crazy Rich Asians movie.
Yeah, I feel like that dress didn't necessarily flatter her figure. I think they could have picked a better cut for her. It was a pretty dress, but I feel like they could have done a little bit better.
Yeah.
I almost liked her in the suit better. Than the dress.
The waiter suit?
Yes.
My goodness.
Just,
oh, gosh.
And,
so what do we think about a location change? We've gone from centralizing in Las Vegas, movie 11 and 13. Of course, they went to Europe in 12, but we're not in Vegas. We're in New York City.
Yeah, I love that they did that. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Fresh cast.
Fresh cast, fresh city.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very interesting choice for an all-female cast. I think it was a conscious choice because, Vegas is much more like, for the boys with the, gambling, like that setting worked for them. And to kind of even the con being different. We're not looking at casinos anymore. Although there was a poker table at their headquarters. I don't know if you noticed that. When they first walk in, they emphasize, and Debbie looks at that poker table a little bit. And we're away from the dice. We're away from the casinos. It's a very big change from what the Oceans are kind of built around. But it fits in with the all-female cast. It makes sense that they're centered in New York and that they're going to look at diamonds rather than, that's more appealing to all of them, the jewel thief, rather than the casino, crusades, I guess.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a good transition for the whole to move to New York City.
Yeah, for sure. I really like the music in this one too. I like the music in all of them, but this one had a different feel, but it was just really good. Like, there's a lot of times where I just kind of like came out of the moment, was just only focusing on the music, and I was like, this is catchy. I like this. Anyway, one thing that me and Jennifer wanted to bring up was in every one of these movies, they just happen to have these white replicas of buildings, like little mini scales. It's like, where do they get these models of these buildings? Every single one, they have one of those.
Meticulously made.
Like, I want one of my house.
That's
why they
funny.
did it, so that they could walk through it. But I'm like, who cut these? Who designed these? Who set them up? Like, who knew the layout well enough to do all that?
They must have a guy.
Yeah.
They must have a replica guy. Like,
it must.
It just does that.
Thing in the first trilogy.
Yeah. I wonder if you could I wonder if there's a website online where you could like give them a building and say, hey, I would like a replica of this. I don't know if they would in that time. They probably would have to have a specific guy, but just like for public sales. And if not, this could be a business we could go into. Like, I don't know what we'd call it, but I don't know.
Mini replicas for you. That's what we would call it.
Tinybuildings.com. Not to be confused with tiny houses, but
no.
Yeah.
So looking at that cast of characters, who's your favorite of the 8? It doesn't even have to be the 8 if you want to branch out, but who's your favorite and why?
I really like Aquafina's character the most. She's just so funny. Every time she's on screen, it's
Who's your favorite character and your favorite actress?
Oh, it was the question actor or actress or character?
Oh, I was just asking characters.
Okay. Well, I was thinking character.
Share both.
All right. Character, Aquafina's character. Actress, probably Sandra Bullock. And right behind her, probably Anne Hathaway. And then I could rate them all because they're all so good. Helena Bonham Carter would be the third one. But
I think Lou might have been my favorite character, but Sandra Bullock is probably my favorite actress. Not just for this movie, but for all the movies she's in, just kind of collectively thinking about her.
She doesn't make bad movies.
She doesn't. She plays her parts really well. But Anne Hathaway's also a close second.
I want to go back and watch The Heat again.
Oh yeah, we're Ashley and I are actually in the middle of it. We started it like a few weeks ago and haven't had a chance to finish, so we've got to finish that one.
I thought you had.
That's good. You need to. We need to watch it together.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I think my favorite character is Tammy. Sarah Paulson like does a really good job. I mean, she's not my favorite actress in this, but Tammy's like the character. And I think I wasn't sure about this, so I looked up. We'll get to this in a second. I looked up the list of cons, and it's not like 13, 12, or 11, where they just had a list that they talk about, and then you can look up all the different things they do. You know, Sandra Bullock's keeping that list, but she says at one. I think when she's talking to Tammy, she says, "We need a fence. We need a fence."
Yeah.
And I think that means we need you to go in, and you need to be the fence. So that night, you need to be the blocker. So you keep doing things, you're on the inside, and you're blocking what we're doing at different times. She's that fence, that guard between the two.
Yeah, I was wondering what they meant by that. That makes sense.
But I think it's because like when you have a fence between yours and your neighbor's house, is it your fence or is it their fence? It shares, you know, the sides. So she's kind of in both places. And so I just loved how she kind of manipulated from the inside, got the special nutritionist, you know, position in there, and it just gave her. I just like the fact that she's really good at event coordinating. That they just hired her on the spot weeks before this, you know, gala as she inappropriately called it.
That's what I was about to bring up. Was one of my favorite scenes of hers was when she was interviewing for the job, and she's like, "I think you're a little overqualified." She's like, how can you be overqualified? It is the Met Gala after all. It's like gala. It's gala. So.
That was good. Just a little, you know, awkward rub at the beginning, but
they hired her anyway. It worked out.
Yeah. But I enjoyed her. I enjoyed that character, and I just enjoyed the thought of there being a character who just pulls heists on box trucks or, you know, freight trucks. Like, just like getting all this stuff, and her garage is just stocked with, you know, like half a dozen Roombas, like, you know, random, but there you go. So, but my favorite actress, I'm gonna have to go with Sandra Bullock as well, because she's really good. It was tied between Sandra and Helena Bonham Carter, and for Helena Bonham Carter, it's the versatility as an actress, because you see her in all these different roles. I mean, from Sweeney Todd to this position to you know, Harry Potter, and then we've got Alice in Wonderland. You know, all of these kind of big name things that she just flips back and forth and does such a good job in. So, and then you see her in the new Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and she was a normal person. She's the most normal person. She's his mom.
She's the mom, yeah. Charlie's mom.
Yeah, like what in the world? So just her being able to pull this one off as well was good. So I enjoyed that a lot.
Yes. All right. I have like one more question, but I don't know if you guys had any other topics you wanted to go over.
I want to talk about the cons in a minute.
Okay. The cons, and then what were we
my general comments. So I love this movie because the all female.
All female, yeah. Okay, Kenley, go ahead with the cons.
Cons.
All right. So looking at some, again, we can probably look at these and figure out what they mean, but here are the code names. I don't know if it's an official code name or a code name that Debbie came up for her plan, and there are 14 different parts of this plan. I don't know if they're all cons or just all pieces. 1, BFF. BEFF.
BEFF?
Like the word B, like if I was going to tell you to, you know, yeah, like BFF. I don't know. And then number 2, Uncle Monty. 3 is Sketchy. 4 is Diva Zapata. 5, Loves Me Not. 6, More the Merrier. 7, Made in Heaven. 8, Hallelujah Time. 9, Spring Break with an exclamation point. 10, Crack in the Mirror. 11, Poof. 12, Deviled Eggs. 13, Who's Who. 14, Cupid's Delight. So those are a lot, and I can't place them all. And I looked, and there's not a whole lot on it. Cupid's Delight, I do believe the last one is the whole twisting it on her, lover who scorned her.
Oh,
right. And then I think 13 would be, that's Who's Who. I think she was marking that off after the con. I think that's when everybody walks out with the pieces on because there's somebody different. So who's, they're playing different people. So
I thought maybe that might have been when they got the older ladies to help pawn off some of the other pieces in auction.
I don't know. The only reason I think that one was with the women is walking out is because I think right after the con ended, she marked that one off her list before they got to the old ladies. But I don't know. We'll have to look at it. So I kind of want to go through and I want to find some more on it because I don't know. So.
Okay, my last question is, do you think Danny Ocean is dead?
Absolutely, I do.
You think he's fully dead?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. I've told you a number of reasons. I think we mentioned this earlier. I was like, I think there are a few things that point to it. I think one is that that's the obvious choice and that they're trying to con that he's not, and they're trying to con the audience a little bit. And another, I forgot to mention this quote because I've been saving it for this question because I knew you were going to ask it. But I think it's Sandra Bullock, Debbie and Lou are talking to each other. And they say something about how do you con a con? You tell the truth. And I think at this point, as the audience, we're watching for those cons. We're looking for the deception. And I think the way to con us and give the biggest deception is to tell the truth. And I believe Danny Ocean is dead because of that. And that's all I'll say about it. So John, what do you think?
I think he's alive. I know that's what they want you to believe, but I just feel deep down in my heart he's alive somewhere. And it makes me think of in Ocean's 12 when they talk about Lamarck being dead, and they're like, he could have died at this year, or he's still alive. And I feel like that's same with like Danny. I'm just like, he could be in there, could be alive. And then I even just, as you said, they want you to feel that he's still alive. But Debbie's line where she's like, you better be in there.
There is that one part that makes you question it.
And it's like, I feel like the writers would throw that line in there on purpose to give you hope on purpose, just so that they can have a glorious moment of his return coming back. So I like to believe and do believe that he's alive.
I'm with Kinley. I think he's actually dead.
I think he's dead?
I think he's dead.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, hopefully they'll make another and let us know. So.
Well, and so that's what I had been looking up. Not sure, really not sure if they've confirmed a sequel. It looks like they're going to do a sequel, but at this point we haven't heard anything officially. But it does look like Elizabeth Banks was supposed to be attached to 8 originally, and looks like she could be in 9 if they are going to do it. They might also bring RuPaul into the mix for Ocean's 9. That would be interesting. So, but we'll see. They've got some stuff lined up, but I'm not sure if anything is going to come to fruition. So the question, if they never do a sequel, and this is it, is Danny dead or is he alive? Are we going to live in the balance for forever of not knowing? Probably. Or if they never do a sequel, does it like?
He's dead. Like that.
I'm okay with accepting the fact that they don't say for sure.
Yeah.
I like it when they leave it up to the audience.
I love it when they keep you guessing.
Like, it's like, I mean, this is fresh on my mind because I was just watching it this week, but in Inception, the very last scene where he spins the top and then the scene ends before it topples, and it's like, did it topple? Is it a dream? Is it reality? Who knows? It's up to you to decide.
That's why I can't get through that. Too much guessing.
But I feel like I think they were very intentional at making it Ocean's 8 to make it in place for a new trilogy, because, you know, people like to do movie trilogies. So I feel like, you know, they got 10, 11, 12, or 11, 12, 13. And then if they did 8, like 9, and 10, it would be perfect.
If they didn't want to do a trilogy, they could have set it up as just Ocean's 10.
I definitely think they've set it up with the thought of, if this works out, it's just kind of seeing if it will. And the other movies were 2.5 to 3 years apart from each other. And so we're looking now at 2 years since Ocean's 8 came out. Now, we would normally, if it would come out next year, we would have some confirmation, then would be filming. So we might have a little bit more of a length. But I'm confident they're going to do 9. I really am.
I'll tell you what I would like to see. I would like them to do a 9 and a 10, do this trilogy.
Absolutely.
And then I want them to make an Ocean's 1, Danny's backstory, how he meets Ruben, how it all begins. And like,
maybe
and have somebody younger play him, that's fine, but like have the same mannerisms as him and all that. Like, I feel like it can be done really well.
That would be cool. Maybe even see a little bit of Danny and Debbie as children, like learning cons. That would be like kid level cons, like how they con as children, you know? That would be really cool. Not for a long time, not for the whole movie, just little snippets here and there would be really funny. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah. So we'll see. All right, we ready to review this thing?
Yes, I do want to say one more thing. I think it's important to address the fact that Beth does not think that Danny is dead. I wanted to give her, you know, a shout out on that one.
That's true.
I'm not sure what Ashley thinks. So
Ashley,
she doesn't think he's dead.
Oh, okay.
She hopes I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. It just doesn't happen often. So
it doesn't happen often that you're wrong.
Oh man.
Never mind. Just kidding. So they also had some nice. One last thing. I promise I'm done. They also had some nice guest stars, like cameos of people as themselves, like we had in the first one. When Rusty's teaching them how to play poker, you've got Katie Holmes and some other people sitting around the table. I was like, well done. Well done. Heidi Klum, we talked about that.
Serena Williams.
Yeah,
Serena Williams. Yeah.
Who else did they have?
Remember their names.
They interviewed some people on the carpet. Gosh.
Who's the blonde girl who she like?
I don't know. I don't know if she's an actress or if she's a fashion icon. I don't know.
I don't know. She looked familiar.
Well, and I don't know if you noticed at the beginning when Debbie's putting this plan out to Lou, and they're at the diner, and Debbie's telling her everything that's happened, and Debbie's eating, and Lou always chews gum, kind of like Rusty always ate food. But there's a moment where Debbie holds out the fork, and she says, "Come on, take a bite," as in physically take this bite, but also take a bite out of my plan. But I think that's a direct nod at Rusty always eating and just kind of getting a sidekick. Take a bite. So good nods like that to the OGs. I appreciated that a lot.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, shall we review?
Let's do it.
Can we start?
Do it.
You want me to start?
Sure.
I'm gonna have to say it's just like an 8.5 to me.
Okay. 8.5.
Solid.
Okay. I gave it an 8. I texted Beth for hers. She gave me a 7.
It's pretty good for Beth.
Yeah, that's very
good for Beth. High praise.
High praise.
Ashley also gave this a 7, and I also gave it an 8.
Kinley, have we been like the same for all these Ocean movies? I know there's.
I gotta go look at it.
I have to go back and listen because I feel like you and I are on the same page.
Kinley, did you start a spreadsheet of all of our ratings of all of our movies?
No, but I'm going to do it today. I got to do it today because I keep forgetting. So I got to do it and see so we can know how they rank up, you know?
Yeah.
So that gives us an overall crew review of 7.7.
Very good.
Pretty good. I was hoping we could get an even 8 for Ocean's 8, but oh well.
That'd be cool. Man, All righty. Well, like I said before, we'll be in studio again on the next episode, and we're not sure what the movie's going to be yet. But watch our social media, so we will announce it before, so you can watch it before. I don't know if it'll be the next one or not, but we definitely want to review Tenet, Christopher Nolan's Tenet. So it just depends on if we're going to be able to see it in time or not, because I know there's some pre-screenings, and then anyway, if it's not this one, it'll be the next one or two. So, all right, and follow us on social media: Twitter, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, at The Crew Review Podcast, and follow us, subscribe to us. You got to do all these things if you haven't yet. And a huge help to us would be, even if you watch this on Facebook, which is totally fine, but if you could go on Apple Podcasts and rate us and leave a review there, it definitely helps boost us and makes us super famous. So please help us to make it. We will remember you. Like, we know who our fans are.
That's right.
It's you guys. Right there. All righty. Well, until next time, we go big tonight.